Shalom, shalom, Yasha'Allah. First and foremost, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessing salutations as always to the hopefully elect. So we're going to jump straight into it, man. These Epstein files that have recently came out, this is exposing Esau, and this is to let you know that everything of what the prophets have been saying about this man, have been saying about the so-called white man, you seen it now out in the open. You can no longer deny. I mean, his history already proves that he's a damn devil. All right, but even all of this stuff that's coming out now is just solidifying that, okay? And showing you that these devils have not changed, okay? They're the same damn way, man. Because why? They were created to be this way from the very beginning, going all the way back to the garden, man, the seed of the serpent. You see? And they'll try to throw out, Jakes that are expendable. They'll throw you a R. Kelly. They'll throw you a Diddy. Who else? They'll throw you a Michael Jackson. All right, just to name a few, and put them out there as though they're the face of pedophile activity, when really we already know that Esau Edom, he's the biggest pedophile on the planet Earth. Nobody even comes close. Nobody even comes close, man. But see, this is the Lord. Okay, this is the Lord Yahweh Bashmel Shai putting the spotlight on these devils, putting the Scorpio on it, man. When I was I was at work today, man, I was seeing these Edomites face. Usually, they'll talk and they'll, be cordial and stuff. Like, they just look like they was in a super down spirit, like they were just off, man. All right, and that's really the Lord, messing these Edomites up in the head, because now all this information is coming out about their leaders, coming out about people that look like them, and what they doing, and really that they're the problem. So now, because you had this whole thing of this recent resurgence of, oh, it's okay to be white. You know what I'm saying? You had Edomites coming out and say that, no, I'm not ashamed to be white. And then you had that cold ass nigga, what's his name? Jesse Lee Peterson. You know what I'm saying? He had went on Alex Jones, and basically, was saying that, you white people, you don't have anything to be ashamed of, you should be proud to be white and all this and that. You see? But nah, man, see, what's about to happen is the Lord is exposing these Edomites before he takes them down. You see, because all of the wickedness and all of the evil that they've done in their history, that has to be answered for. And see, when the Lord judges, he deals with nations of people. Yeah, he does judge individually, but when he pronounces judgment, he pronounces judgment on the whole nation. So you Edomites, you had your time. You had your time to live high on the hog. You had your time to oppress Jake and do all your wickedness. But now it's time to pay. And before you get chains put on you, the Lord is going to expose you Edomites before the whole world. Because, recently, I would say about hardcore heavy, like the past 10 years, man, there's been a lot of things coming out about the history of the Edomites. And that's why they've been pushing back on the what you call CRT, or critical race theory. They've been pushing back on that hard. They've demonized the word woke, to now make it a stigma to, that if you're aware of historical facts and truths, that you shouldn't, that you should be demonized for that. Now they call you woke as a bad term, when being woke, which Jake really popularized that term, which meant to be enlightened, to be aware, to be, very astute about history and things that are going on in today's world. To be outside the matrix. Esau is taking that and he's demonized it, because why? It's too much truth that's coming out against these people, man. So they had to demonize these certain terms and make it a stigma, but nonetheless, it don't matter, because when the Lord got your card, there's nothing that you can do to stop the flood. And this flood of truth that's coming out against these Edomites, this is only the beginning. It's not going to stop. So with the Epstein files coming out, which really all this, they're putting this out there. This is nothing more than Satan divided against Satan, Esau against Esau, This is all a distraction, really, because they getting ready to move into this NWO. This is a distraction to distract from the gold and silver markets and the overseas wars that are jumping off and all these things. We already know that. But nonetheless, still, Esau is being revealed. All right, he's being made bare, as the scriptures say. And let's get that. Let's start it off with that right there. Right, Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 49 and verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So it says in Jeremiah 49 and 10 that the Lord has made Esau bare, meaning that he stripped this man down to his nakedness, all right? And your nakedness is your shame. So Esau's shame is being exposed to the whole world. Again, his history, even the things that he's hidden, that he's been doing behind the scenes, man, all these things are now coming out. And see, this is the stuff that these devils didn't want to come out, but nonetheless, it's the Spirit of the Lord that's revealing them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check out Redacted, just a short portion of it. This is an hour-long video, but, we'll get a short portion of it to get the point, man. But look, these Edomites are nasty. These Edomites are demonic, very, just vile, man. Especially the elites, you see? Because this video is dealing with the elites of Edom. All right, these are the most vile, wicked, demonic people on the face of the planet, man. Just evil down to the core. All right, so let's check this out.
Just had to scramble all of a sudden.
They have the time because they're not prosecuting anybody.
Among the most disturbing documents released on the Epstein files has to do with cannibalism, of course. This is an NYPD Detective Bureau document, which is dated August 2019. This is from the new batch of documents. It says President George H.W. Bush, according to this eyewitness, raped a male victim on a yacht where the victim also witnessed babies being dismembered while individuals ate then the entrails from their intestines.
All right. So this is what's coming out about Esau. And it shows you that even the leaders, right, which this is not new revelation to us. This is old news, but to the world, to the masses, this is new information. This is like, oh shit, this is what they've been doing. Like, yes, the presidents, all of them, all right, they're in the cabal. They have to do rituals, they have to do blood sacrifices in order to get in those positions, and they're all moles. Okay, all of them are sodomites. All right, because what I'm saying. When you get into the inner workings of Esau and his governments, there was even some information that came out some months ago of how top officials in the military got to get down. That they basically got to, I don't even want to say it, man, but they got to get down with each other. Okay, they have to do some sodomite acts to each other in order to get into those positions, and that's kind of like a blackmail of what they use to keep them in line. And they don't let Jake get into those positions because they know that Jake has a conscience. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know that Jake eventually will get tired of it, don't want to go through with it no more, and Jake will spill the beans. All right, so they only let Edomites into those high-ranking military positions. You see? But listen, all of this stuff is coming out. So you got U.S. presidents, and they all do this. All right, they all have to get down with this because that's a form of blackmail for the elites. But they out here eating babies. All right, they out here popping men. You see, they out here popping animals. But like yo, Esau is crazy. But let's continue.
Let me just keep that up on the screen for a second. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during the process. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered. He also was raped by George Bush the First. Unbelievable. So remember Putin's secret recent quote in an interview he did in March of 2024. The vampire's ball is coming to an end. He said they've been stuffing their stomachs with human flesh, and they referring to elites in the West.
Yeah, and I remember when Putin said that. all right, which Putin himself, he's indulged, okay, but nonetheless, all right, he let it be known back in March of last year that the leaders of the West, that they're vampires. You know what I'm saying? That they drink blood, that they eat human flesh, that they perform satanic rituals. Why? Because this world is run by Satan, all right, through Esau, through the Edomites, and there was in France, right? You had President Emmanuel Macron. I remember doing a lesson on this some months ago, but they had a satanic parade out there in France where they had I think it was a 10-foot tall statue of Baal, okay, and it was pretty much a Baal parade. So right then and there, them devils let you know what they dealing with, right? Them devils let you know who they worship, okay? As the scriptures say, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. And guess what? These devils, they are all into this. Like, this is what they do. Any facet of the society that you want to get into, you know what I'm saying? You want to get into politics, you want to get into Hollywood, the music industry, you know, high levels in the corporate world. This is the shit that they got to do, man. Like, they have to be tapped in to the Satanism heavy, okay, which all of this stuff goes back to the occult, you know what I'm saying, goes back to serpent worship, and you know what I'm saying, just all of that, like, you know what I'm saying, the practices of the ancient Canaanites, you know what I'm saying, what they was doing in the land of Israel before, we came in, you know what I'm saying, all these things, sacrificing children to Molech, all right, worshiping Baal, worshiping these false gods and deities, doing these strange, weird rituals, man. All these individuals, all your favorite entertainers, your celebrities, all these, mother effers are weirdos, man. All right, straight up Satanists. And they let you know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you watch these certain interviews, they'll put, their hands in a certain way. They be throwing up the 666, the all seeing eye, all that stuff, man. And this is old information. Okay, like, I remember back in the day before I even came into the truth, you know what I'm saying, when I was in like middle school, like I had a middle school teacher, like he was all into that. Like, he'd be showing us YouTube videos. I mean, I was kind of too young to understand what that was all about at that time, but I remember, he'd be showing us, the videos of all the satanic symbolism that's on the money, and how, the elites, they do the rituals and all of that. Like, he was super deep into it, you know what I'm saying? And, that was from the Lord, to plant that seed. And, later on down the line, when I got a little older, I started to look into these things, and I'm like, damn, all this shit that they doing, but this is old news. All right, but what's coming out in these files, this is the evidence, okay? They got photos, they got videos, all type of stuff to substantiate that this is what they do. This is how they get down. So the cat is out the bag. Okay, this American government, which, all you MAGAs voted for this nigga Trump, thought that he was going, be for your best interest and bring America back. Nah, man. All right, he's here to set up the NWO, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's taking away you Americans' rights. He's, pretty much saying F you, and he's doing the will of the elites. That's what's going on here. And he himself, Trump as well, yes, he's in the files, all right? He has done all these satanic rituals as well, and that's why there was an interview where a reporter asked him, "Do you think there's anything that can get you into heaven?" And his response was, "Oh, I don't think there's anything that can get me into heaven." You see, he said, "My heaven is right now," which he's exactly right. You see, so these devils know, they know at the very top, the elites of them, that they're Edomites. They know that this is their time, this is their portion, this is their blessing. And this is why they do all this wicked shit, because after this, you know what I'm saying, when you read is that Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, where it speaks about the wicked reasoning within themselves but not aright. They speak about how, our time is but a vapor, and let us use the creatures as in youth, and let us leave our memories of voluptuousness, and let us enjoy ourselves and drink wine and all this. You know what I'm saying? This is these devils' time to do all of this wicked, perverted shit that they want to do, man, because after this, it's nothing but slavery and getting a foot up their ass 24/7. Then after they serve their 1,000 years, it's eradication, because people like this cannot be allowed to exist, man. All right? Because these Edomites, you see, these are not normal people. Stuff that, we would consider normal, they look at that as, something that is to be detested. All right? Esau, because us as, Jake men, we love to deal with our women, we love to, enjoy our children, in a righteous way. All right? We just enjoy the finer things in life, you know what I'm saying? Jake gets some money, Jake want to relax, kick back, and, just enjoy life, man. These Edomites, they get money, and the first thing they do is they look to do some wicked, perverse, satanic shit. Okay, because that's in their nature, that's their makeup. That's how the Most High made them, man. The Most High made them to be crooked. They are the children of Satan upon the earth, man. These, you see, when the scriptures speak about the devil, okay, it's speaking about them, man. All right? And starting with the elders and apostles, we've gone into numerous lessons to show you the facts, you know what I'm saying, to lay it down. Like, look, when we say the white man's the devil, we not just saying this because, we just some angry niggas and, y'all just mad at the white man. I mean, we are vexed at this nigga, but at the same time, his works testify who he is. Was it not Yahweh Shah that said that you shall know them by their fruits? So the fruit of Esau, what he has produced throughout his history, shows that he is in fact the devil. Shows in fact that he is in fact the adversary to righteousness, man. Everything that they do is, upside down, okay? The Most High says man and woman come together, procreate, bring forth life. Esau says no. Man and man, man and beast, all right? Woman and woman. You can be a transformer. You see? Completely perverse, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, Esau really got men out here chopping their rods off, all right? Esau really got women out here cutting off their breasts and getting a flat chest, taking hormones so they can be a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is some weird, perverse shit. But in the world of the devil, this is what you have, just mass confusion. No, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what's right and what's wrong. It's all been blurred, and that's because of Esau, all right? But let's continue.
They've been stuffing their stomachs with human flesh, and they've been stuffing their pockets with money. But they must realize this ball of vampires is about to end. The movie Hostel is true. Rich elites paying for torture, kill for sport, go to these resorts where you can do all of this. Then there's the mystery of Gabriela Rico Jimenez. Remember her? There she is on the right. In 2009, the then 21-year-old Mexican model was seen outside the Fiesta Inn in Monterrey, Mexico. Gabriela had attended a private party at the hotel. She was brought there by an elite modeling event, brought together prominent businessmen, politicians, individuals whose names are all over the Epstein files, by the way. So a direct connection to Epstein. She ran out of the hotel. A few days later, she was screaming about what she saw inside. Watch. And she was describing the elites there smelling like human flesh after they'd eaten it. She was rambling on and on about these global elites' satanic rituals and human sacrifices. She claimed world leaders were there, including former U.S. President George W. Bush. By the way, Epstein had a nice painting of George W. Bush in his office with a little like a paper airplane, and Jenga blocks on the floor to resemble the Twin Towers, like he was throwing this paper airplane as if he was the one that had knocked the towers down. Like, you'd have that artwork in your house? Anyway, that they all took part in this ceremony, eating children. Police took her away and claimed it was a mental breakdown. By the way, she was never seen again. There's actually no hospital records. There's no evidence that she's anywhere, gone, disappeared, no official statements, no trace of her. Even her family stayed totally silent on the story. Then there's Prince Andrew. And now the revelations that back in 1990s, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited a girl from a modeling career, and instead of modeling, she was sold as a slave for sex and torture. Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death as he tortured her and me, according to this eyewitness and according to one of these victims, and forced her murder. And then these photos released in this batch over the weekend of Prince Andrew.
Yeah, this is all coming out. Right, this is nasty work, E. See? And there's nothing that they can do to cover this up. You know, there's nothing that they can do to go back on this or redact this. The information is already out. Everything is, you know what I'm saying? Everything is out there for the world to see. You don't think other nations are looking at this and be like, God damn, you know? And see, this is why it is written in Job 20 and 27 that the earth, matter of fact, let's just get that. Job 20 and 27. Look, the earth is rising up against this devil, man. Job 20 and 27, and it reads, the heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, and the heritage appointed unto him by Yahweh. Okay? So the heritage appointed unto Esau is to be completely destroyed, is to be eradicated out of the earth. But right now, the heaven is revealing his iniquity, man. The Lord is exposing the devil before the whole world, and there's nothing that he can do about it. And see, when you get Luke, the 8th chapter, it tells you that there's nothing hidden that shall not be made known. And we in the last days where it was written in Daniel, you know, that men shall run to and fro and knowledge shall be increased. So we're in that time where the internet is up. People can search and people can find things easily. Okay, that's what time we in right now. Knowledge is greatly increased. Luke 8 and 17, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. You see? So the Lord is bringing everything about these Edomites, all their dirty laundry is being aired out. And what's being found out is that these are some vile, wicked, demonic people. And that they've always been this way, man. Going back to the very beginning of their inception, coming into power, you know, when you read in Maccabees, the first chapter, it tells you that when Alexander, you know, came into rule, that evils were multiplied within the earth. And we can get that real quick, just real quick. Let's go to the book of Maccabees, first Maccabees, right? Because the beginning of Esau's rule was with Alexander the Greek. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. First Maccabees 1 and 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. Those were his, 4 generals, which his kingdom was split up between after he died. Which even after that, there was infighting. All right, them, you know what I'm saying, those generals, you know what I'm saying, they was fighting the hell out of each other for territory and lands and rights and everything like that. So that's always been the history of Esau. And it's the same thing going on today. That's why you got NATO and the EU breaking up. You know what I'm saying? You got France talking against America. You got Canada now wanting to side with China and Russia. Okay, you got Germany doing backdoor deals. You know what I'm saying? So Esau's house is a mess. And that's how you know that this man about to go down. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. So when the Edomites came in, evils were multiplied in the earth, man. The scriptures tell you that. So from the wicked go forth wickedness, all right? And guess what? In order to eradicate wickedness out of the earth, you have to get rid of the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, Okay, that's who you have to get rid of. That's why these people need to be put down. They need to be put in chains. Look who's at the forefront of all this madness that's happening on the earth right now. You got this nigga BG, okay, the gates of hell. All right, he's talking about synthetic food and lab grown meat, and that we need to depop. You see what I'm saying? You got Yuval Harari and all them devils at the WEF, Larry Ellison, and all these devils, man. You know, they all talking about, we want to become gods and we need to know what you're thinking. You know, we need to surveil you underneath the skin. They're at the forefront of why your life in America, Babylon the Great, is being made a living hell. They're at the forefront of this, man. You can't blame the so-called black man for that. You can't blame the so-called Hispanic man for that. You can't blame the Native American man for that. That's these Edomites. That's these so-called white people, man. All right? Starting with their elites. And see, even, when you deal with the hierarchy of Esau, your elites, they don't give a shit about you, about the poor Edomite, about the, common Edomite, man. Okay? Which, our, we're just tired of you damn devils, man, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time for the nation of Edom to just go, all right? Because you have not benefited the earth. You have not brought anything substantial or anything that is brought peace, man. Okay, all these people have brought to the earth is nothing but death, chaos, and destruction, man. All right, as is written, they come not, that the thief cometh not before to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that's all that they've done throughout their history. Everywhere they've gone, they've stolen, they've killed, and they've destroyed. And they've lied. They've maintained their so-called supremacy on the earth through lies and propaganda. That's how they've stayed in power for this long. But now it's all beginning to be unraveled. Okay? So yeah, we in that time, you know what I'm saying? We in some beautiful times. Yeah, and all this sexual perversion, Esau going around popping men, popping animals, and all this type of stuff, man. What do the scriptures say? Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 16. We'll read it first in the KJV, then we can get it in the NIV, right? And it reads, "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears." And see, you'll have, Israelites come out and say, "Oh, Esau can be saved." Yes, the so-called white man can be saved. No, he can't. Esau couldn't even repent. Esau found no place of repentance with Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, meaning that the Lord did not grant repentance unto Esau. Okay, because the spirit of repentance has to be granted unto you. Not everybody can just come to repentance and just say, "Oh, you know what? I want to turn away from my evil." No, man. That's a spirit that has to be put on you from the Lord. Okay? And it was not given to Esau. That's why it says he was rejected. You see, let's get that in the NIV. Hebrews 12 and 16 in the NIV. "See that no one is sexually immoral," right? Going around doing all these weird, perverse sexual acts. This is how these Edomites get down. This is a part of how they maintain their power and how they stay tapped into the spiritual being Satan. "Or is godless like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights as the oldest son. Afterward, as you know, when he wanted to inherit this blessing, he was rejected, even though he sought the blessing with tears. He could not change what he had done." See? So he sought the blessing with tears. He wanted, the blessing back because he realized what he did. You see, but he couldn't change what he did. It was already done. And furthermore, he couldn't repent because that's the way that the Lord set it up from the very beginning. It was already said before they was even born that the elder, which was Esau, should serve the younger, which was Jacob. But the Lord just had to go down in a very controversial way to add to the dramatics of the movie. So this is what we have now to this very day. Okay, Esau, he's still trying to get that birthright back, but he's trying to do it on the left hand. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to do it in the way of wickedness by setting up this NWO. But it's not going to work because the Lord is going to shut all this shit down real soon, man. Okay? The Lord's gonna allow him to continue with the MOTB. He's gonna allow him to continue setting off World War III, but that's gonna be it. Esau's not gonna have this AI controlled and robot universe that he want to set up. Nah, that's not gonna happen because his ass is gonna be cut off. The Lord gonna raise up a standard against his ass just when he's about to fill his belly, as is written in Job, the 20th chapter. Okay. Yeah, so this man is completely perverse. Esau is out of his mind. Okay. And what is that? Job, thinking of Job 30, right? Where it speaks about how, these devils, they were viler than the earth. So this goes back all the way to the beginning, man. So we're going to see what the scriptures say about how vile that these Edomites were. All right. This is Job 30, and one is speaking of the Edomites. Okay. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. All right. So Job said, yo, I would not even put an Edomite amongst the dogs of my flock. All right. Because Esau, he's heavily into bestiality, dealing with animals. Okay. And I've heard some things, man. Okay. Like I've heard some things that people told me, what I'm saying, about, over the years of what Edomites do with their pets, do with their animals. And let's just say that it's some very vile acts, man. Okay. And if you look up bestiality, all right, all you're going to see is Edomites. All right. That's all you're going to see are, pink people, man. This is, what they do. In verse 2, yeah, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. See? So the rest of the nations, what I'm saying, because, at one point, all the nations, we pretty much lived in proximity, what I'm saying? But it came a time to where, Esau, they were just so vile, just so wicked, to where they were driven forth, man, to where they were chased out from amongst the rest of the nations. And they cried after them as after a thief. All right, that's another code name for Esau in the scriptures, is the thief. Okay. That's why Yahushua said that the thief cometh not before to steal, to kill, and to destroy. All right. So that's to let you know he's talking about the Edomite. All right. But, reading on, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Now, who is known to have dwelt in the rocks, to dwell in the caves, in the cliffs of the valleys? Well, it's the OG caveman, the so-called white man, Esau Edom. Okay, that's what this is talking about right here, man. They were driven forth from among men, all right, from civilization, and they were forced to go up into the mountains, all right? They were forced to go into the caves, to dwell in the rocks, man, because they were that vile. And guess what? When they went to the caves and to dwell in the rocks, they didn't stop doing what they was doing. They kept doing it, all right? They what I'm saying? They were still practicing pederasty. They were still doing the bestiality. They were still doing the incest, just all manner of evil and wickedness, man, to where they were driven forth. Verse 7, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. See? So Job said that these people, they were viler than the earth. They was braying like donkeys, man. They didn't even have no language. You know what I'm saying? They were just base. And see, this is how you know that there is a Most High. Okay? Because Esau, he likes to, say to, throw around the whole high IQ thing. Oh, we're high IQ. We're better than, every nation on the planet Earth, which that's a goddamn lie. Okay. Only thing that you're superior at is being a goddamn devil. Okay. There's nothing superior about these damn Edomites, man. All right. They can't even be in the sun for half an hour without looking like a damn bottle of red Kool-Aid, man. Okay. The earth is against them. So how the hell can you be superior, man? Even your genetic makeup is inferior. Okay? There's nothing superior about these people. There's nothing good about these people. You see, but when because they're in power, they can control the narrative. They can push out, their pseudoscience and their BS on you to make it seem like it's something that it's not, and that's really a part of his witchcraft as well. You see, but they're truly the base people of the earth, which to be base means to be low. All right, and even when you deal with the vision, the statue that Daniel had in that vision, the rulership of Esau deals with the thighs down to the feet, which that's the base of the body. Okay, so I believe that the thighs, that was Greece. Then you get down to like the legs, that was Rome, and down to the feet, that's like the end of the Roman Empire. Really, we're in the revival of Rome now, which represents the feet. But it says in Daniel the second chapter that kingdom will be partly strong and partly broken. Okay, so it would be strong in terms of the military might, but it'd be broken internally because of all the back and forth, all the differences of opinion, all the religion, and all this other stuff that Esau is divided on. That's how they're falling apart. That's how it's partly broken, man. These Edomites, they can't agree. So that's why the kingdom is falling apart right before them. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? When you deal with the rulership of Esau, the Lord set it up in his spirit to where he would have the thighs down to the feet, which again is the base of the body, showing you that he is the basis of men. You see, because he came in with the Greeks under Alexander, and he's going out with this current day, Babylonian beast system, man. Okay? So the scriptures are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lord set everything up in code for us to understand in these times, man, to know where we at and who we dealing with. You see, but the scriptures say that they were viler than the earth. They were children of fools. Yeah, children of base men. And they were raised up to rule over the earth. Now, these base people, they rule over you, Jake. All right. Again, showing you that there's a most high, showing you that there's a higher power, man, because, I used to wonder, I used to be like, damn, man, like, we just, we just blessed in so many ways, but we got these people ruling over us. That don't even make no sense. Sometimes you'll watch videos and Jake is in the comments like, damn, like, how the hell did they get the best of us? Well, it's all Yahweh Shai Shai. That's the judgment of the Lord that came upon us, man. When you read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, you know what I'm saying? The Lord said that he would send a nation against us from far whose language we would not understand, who would not regard the young nor the old. That's talking about these Edomites, okay? The Lord sent them against us to take us down from being a nation because we went off and we was being wicked. So the Lord raised up the basis of men to rule over the earth, and this is the result of it. Everything's out of order. Everybody is confused. Everybody's upset, angry. People want to off themselves. This is what happens when the wicked bears rule on the planet Earth, which is why we need new rulership to where everything can be set back in order. You see, because in the kingdom, we're not going to have to worry about our children being snatched up and raped and eaten and being abused, man. Everything's going to be righteous. But in Esau society, these things happen, and guess what? These Epstein files came out, but nobody's going to jail. Okay, these Epstein files came out, but nobody's going to be indicted. Nobody's going to be investigated. They don't even want to say the names of the people that were involved in these heinous acts, showing you that this society is not predicated upon justice. It's all predicated upon wickedness and you having a status, you having money, you being able to get over in the courts. Okay. And this dude, Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly, he's back in the spirit world, but we know that he's somewhere on the island still doing the same wickedness that he been doing. Come on now. But again, this is the result of it. We live in a wicked ass society, and this place is going down. Okay, but Esau, he's just really, all right. Esau, he's just really, just making it worse. Okay, because no matter how much they try to hide these things, now you got the small hats coming out and saying, oh, we just don't know. We don't want nobody to speak out against us. Yeah, there we go. My guy Kyle Kalinske, man, you going into it too. You know, the Epstein files just changed the world forever. Okay. Yeah,
you know, a lot of people think that in order to conceal carry, you're going to need a tactical belt and a set of jeans. Well, I'm here to...
And torture. Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death as he tortured her and me, according to this eyewitness and according to one of these victims, and forced her murder. And then these photos released in this batch over the weekend of Prince Andrew.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I think the point has been made, but yeah, it's over with for Esau, okay? It's over with, man. Everything's coming out. He's being made bare. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. And closing call, Allah, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yashala, Wa Babu Bo. Shalom.